Hello and welcome to Sports Buzz. In the next half an hour, we'll get you all the latest news and updates in the field of sports. First up, the headlines. India celebrates 10th anniversary of 2011 World Cup triumph. Players of the winning team get nostalgic. Fans relive the magical moments. In tennis, Bianca Andreescu beat Maria Sakkari in the semi-finals to enter finals of the Miami Open to face Ashley Barty in the finals, who overcame Elina Svitolina in the last four clash. And big blow for Real Madrid as Sergio Ramos suffers injury ahead of Champions League quarter-final first leg against Liverpool, injures his left leg while playing for Spain to miss game against Barcelona. Good evening, you're watching Sports Buzz. My name is Abhishek Mahajan. Let's start with cricket. 10 years have passed and the memory of India lifting the World Cup title in 2011 still feels fresh as morning. Powered by the knocks of Gautam Gambhir and MS Dhoni, India defeated Sri Lanka by 6 wickets to lift their second World Cup trophy on this day. Dhoni, the Indian captain in the tournament, finished the final with the towering 6 over long on against Nuwan Kulasekara, the Sri Lankan bowler, sending the entire nation into a frenzy. The winning 6 struck by Dhoni is still viewed as one of the most exciting moments in India's sporting history. So this is the 6 that MS Dhoni had hit, and India lifted the World Cup trophy after 28 years. Remember, India had won the first World Cup in 1983 and then created history after 28 years. And India's 2011 World Cup triumph has to be their biggest win of the millennium. Let's try to relive the moment of India's victory. Right, no one can forget this day. India beating Sri Lanka in the finals to lift the trophy, the World Cup trophy, after 28 long years. Well, to talk more on this, my colleague Narayan joins us. Narayan, how do you want to remember this World Cup? India had only lost to South Africa in the entire tournament, and almost everyone performed well, be it Gautam Gambhir, MS Dhoni, Yuvraj Singh was man of the series, and we had a superb team. And let's not forget, India had done well and straight away won the World Cup after a disappointing show in the 2007 50-over World Cup.
Definitely, Abhishek. If you talk about this moment, it had inspired the whole generation of cricketers that India winning the World Cup after 28 years, and we can say that it is still in the still fresh in the memory of every cricket fan, not only India but the world cricket fan, the way India won that World Cup after 28 years. And Sachin Tendulkar was waiting for that moment of glory since 21 years. He was playing his 6th World Cup, and after, as Virat Kohli said, that he was carried the burden of nation for the 21 years. So a lot was everything means many things was on stake for India in that World Cup, because India is, as we know, that is like a religion. It's a cricket mad nation, and after 1983 India was wanting a World Cup. And that's the moment, and with the way MS Dhoni scored the winning 6, and it was a spectacular for not only for the cricketers, for the whole nation, because it's an iconic moment, because it's not only because it's a winning 6, because it had not only added the 6 runs to the scorecard, but the long-lasting memory that it has imprinted in the minds of the cricket fans, the budding cricketers, and that six and that moment inspiring the coming generation, the future generation and the budding cricketer, that was more important, and its reflection is clearly visible in Indian cricket today. Right now we can see that we have many young talents, and the recent past we saw in the last 4 months of cricket, we saw debutants are coming and scoring in the debut matches and showing the mettle, and they are capable to make a comeback at any point of time, and so such iconic moments inspires the budding cricketers, and helps a nation to excel in that sports.
Narayan, you talked about that match, for that matter the entire series, the entire tournament has certainly inspired the generations to come. It's 10 years now, but we need to talk about the finals. Sri Lanka batting first, they had scored around 274 to be precise, and Mahela Jayawardena, he scored 100, and chasing the target, India has lost 2 early wickets in the form of Sachin Tendulkar and Virendra Sehwag. But the way MS Dhoni he promoted himself, it was a big decision coming at number 4. Yuvraj Singh coming later, it was a big decision, and 10 balls to spare, India won the World Cup, and who can forget that famous 6 over long on by MS Dhoni?
Definitely a high pressure match, a high pressure tournament, right? If we see the World Cup right through the group matches, India were in a Group B and were at the second place in the group after South Africa, and the Group A Pakistan was at the top, and in the quarterfinals India facing defending champions Australia, and after that we saw in the semi-final the Pakistan was there, and in the final the Sri Lanka, we can see the golden generation of the Sri Lankan cricketers, and India, the Sehwag, after chasing a target of the 275 fell down for 0, Sachin for 18, a pin drop silence in the stadium and everywhere in India, the fans watching the match. And after that Virat Kohli fell for 35, then Gautam Gambhir and MS Dhoni, the way they turned the match under the pressure situation, that we can say it was immense. And MS Dhoni promoting himself, it was a big decision, it was a big gamble, and after Dhoni revealed that he promoted himself because he has played with the Sri Lankan cricketer in the CSK camp, and at that time Muthiah Muralidharan was bowling, and in the nets Muralidharan bowled him during the CSK training camp, so that's why he promoted himself, and he through the whole tournament he didn't play well, but in the final he left everything for the final, and that iconic moment and that historic moment, so that India can lift that trophy, and the Sachin, they can pay a bidding farewell to the legend of the game, Sachin Tendulkar. So we can say that everything was like once in a lifetime moment.
Absolutely, Narayan. You talked about Sachin Tendulkar. It was his dream, and it was a dream come true for Sachin Tendulkar, and he was the highest run scorer also for India, scoring 482 runs with 2 centuries, and wishes also galore for the Indian cricket team. Thank you, Narayan. Thank you for reliving the memories again. Moving on, Sachin Tendulkar, who last week revealed that he had tested positive for coronavirus, tweeted on Friday saying that he had been hospitalized as a matter of abundant precaution under medical advice. The cricketing great said he hoped to be back home in a few days. Thank you for your wishes and prayers. As a matter of abundant precaution under medical advice, I have been hospitalized. I hope to be back home in a few days. Take care and stay safe, everyone. This is what Sachin Tendulkar wrote on Twitter. So the legendary batsman also wished his teammates and all Indians on the 10th anniversary of India's 2011 World Cup triumph. Right now, let's go straight across to the virtual media briefing of MEA.
We have a number of questions that have been received from our journalist friends, and I will now hand over the floor to Yatin to take us through the questions. Yatin, floor is yours.
Thank you, sir. First set of question is on development in Myanmar. Madhurendra from News Nation has asked, Myanmar mein jari hinsa, military rule और लोकतंत्र की हत्या पर भारत ने क्या संज्ञान लिया है? Aishwarya from AFP is asking, the military in Myanmar continues to crack down on pro-democracy protests. Over 500 people have died according to local reports, and reports also suggest there is airstrikes too. What is India's stand?
Friends, thank you for this question. This is an important topic. Let me be very clear. We condemn any use of violence. We believe that the rule of law should be prevailed. We stand for the restoration of democracy in Myanmar. We have urged the release of political prisoners and supported any attempts at resolving the current situation, including through the efforts of ASEAN. We remain engaged on this issue with our international interlocutors and at the United Nations Security Council in an effort to play a balanced and constructive role.
Sridhar from Asian Age has asked, there were reports that a diplomat from the Indian embassy in Burma had attended the Armed Forces Day function on a day when protesters were gunned down. How is this consistent with India's deep concern over the situation there?
We have actually a functioning embassy in Myanmar. Our ambassador, defense attaché and other diplomatic officers continue to discharge their regular diplomatic responsibilities. Nothing more should be read into this event of attending by our defense attaché.
Moncho Torres from EFE has asked, what is the situation in the India-Myanmar border? Do you have numbers of the people from Myanmar that already crossed the border to India? Which is India's stand right now about allowing Myanmar people to the Indian side? Similar question from Siddhant from Vion.
Look, as I made clear our position on the issue in Myanmar, as far as border crossings are concerned, we are dealing with it as per our laws and humanitarian considerations.
Gautam Lahiri has asked, recently some Rohingya infiltrators are detained in India. Will you send them back to Myanmar? Whether any contact has been made with Myanmar authorities on this issue?
I must admit I have no information to share on this topic for the moment.
Akhilesh Suman from Sansad TV is asking, during the BIMSTEC foreign ministers meet yesterday, who represented Myanmar? Was there any reference to situation in Myanmar during the meet? Gautam Lahiri is asking, in BIMSTEC foreign minister meeting, whether current internal situation in Myanmar figured.
Well, the BIMSTEC is the nature of a multilateral meeting, so it did not discuss the situation in Myanmar as far as I am aware. Mr. Yu Koko Liang, Union Minister of the Ministry of International Cooperation of Myanmar, I think attended the meeting on behalf of the government of Myanmar.
Next set of question is on Pakistan. Kadambani from NDTV is asking, पाकिस्तान के कपास और चीनी के आयात को पहले मंजूरी और फिर रोक पर विदेश मंत्रालय की क्या प्रतिक्रिया है? Sridhar from Asian Age is asking, what is the MEA's reaction to Pakistan's flip-flop on resuming trade with India? First they approved and then they deferred it while linking it to condition that Article 370 should be restored. What is India's response? Sanjeev Trivedi from News 24 has asked, how does India view the recent flip-flop by Pakistan in first allowing the resumption of trade and then withdrawing it? Similar questions were asked by Siddhant from Vion, Pushkar from New Indian Express, Sanjay from Arab News, Madhurendra from News Nation.
Friends, we have seen reports on this, but as is evident, we are not the right party to whom this question should be directed. I hope that makes it very clear what I am referring to.
जय प्रकाश फ्रॉम दैनिक जागरण हैज आस्क्ड, वर्ष 2019 में हमने पाकिस्तान को दिया हुआ MFN स्टेटस का दर्जा समाप्त करने की घोषणा की थी. क्या सरकार पड़ोसी देश को फिर से यह दर्जा देने पर विचार कर रही है?
फिलहाल इस विषय पर मेरे पास ऐसा कोई जानकारी तो नहीं है जो आपके साथ मैं शेयर कर सकता हूं.
Shrinjoy from Times Now is asking, was there any one-on-one interaction between EM and his Pakistani counterpart or any other top official at the recent international conference? If there was, what was discussed?
I presume you are referring to the recently held Heart of Asia conference in Dushanbe. I am not aware of any interaction with the Pakistani delegation there.
Madhurendra from News Nation is asking, दुनिया भर के देशों में भारतीय कोविड वैक्सीन की सप्लाई टॉप पर है. कितने देशों को भारत अब तक वैक्सीन सप्लाई कर चुका है और मौजूदा डिमांड क्या है?
As on date, under the Vaccine Maitri initiative, we have supplied a total of 644 lakh doses to the global community. Of these, 104 lakh doses have been supplied as grant, 357 lakh doses on a commercial basis, and 182 lakh doses through the COVAX initiative. The information on which countries have received the vaccine, the category of supplies, the details of delivery, etc. are on our website of the ministry and is regularly updated. I would invite everyone to have a look at that. As regards the demand for our vaccine actually has, many countries across the world have been requesting for our vaccine. I don't have an exact number for what is the demand because there is a request based on their requirements. But I can tell you that the Vaccine Maitri has been extremely successful and very well liked by our partners across the world. And we are continuing to try to supply to the extent possible given our domestic requirements that we have.
Right, so this was Arindam Bagchi, spokesperson of the MEA, talking about the Vaccine Maitri also and talking about the protests in Myanmar, answering questions on the Myanmar protests also and India's trade relations with Pakistan also. Coming back to Sports Buzz now, the ICC Cricket Committee has made changes to the way LBWs will be adjudged under the decision review system, effectively increasing the area of the stumps a ball must be shown as hitting for a not out decision to be overturned. This wicket zone will now be extended all the way to the top of the bails, having previously gone only to the bottom of the bails, which is why deliveries just clipping the bails ended up staying with the umpire's call on the field. By DRS protocol, if more than half the ball is predicted to hit this region, an on-field call of not out is reversed. This is the second time the ICC has adjusted its definition of the wicket zone for LBWs. In 2016, they had increased the wicket zone by expanding its width so that half the ball had to hit any part of the off or leg stumps rather than having to hit at least half of each stump previously. Another significant change will now allow teams to ask on-field officials if they think the batsman was playing a shot before they decide to review, and short run calls like no ball calls will now be the third umpire's responsibility. Tennis now, Bianca Andreescu won her fourth straight three-setter to beat Greece's Maria Sakkari 7-6, 3-6, 7-6. It was another test for the Canadian player who stood tall in the semi-final clash. Notably, she has reached her first final since winning the 2019 US Open. Andreescu will face world number 1 Ashleigh Barty in the finals. Andreescu said she is looking forward to meet Barty in the final of the Miami Open. Earlier, women's singles world number 1 Ashleigh Barty moved into the finals of the Miami Open by beating 5th seed Ukrainian Elena Svitolina. Barty earned 27 winners in a 6-3, 6-3 victory. Barty has gone from strength to strength since saving a match point in her opening victory over Slovakian qualifier Kristina Kusova. Men's 4th seed Rublev ends the giant killing of Korda Hurkacz, upsets Tsitsipas to earn semi-final berth in Miami. Men's 4th seed and Rublev rolled on to the semi-finals, ending the giant killing run of Sebastian Korda. Rublev won a rain-interrupted quarter-final with a 7-5, 7-6 victory over unseeded Korda. He is set to face Hurkacz in the semi-finals. Earlier, Hubert Hurkacz of Poland earned his first semi-final berth in a top-level ATP event by rallying past number 2 seed Stefanos Tsitsipas 2-6, 6-3, 6-4 at the Miami Open. In the semis, Hurkacz will face Russian 4th seed Andrei Rublev, who won a rain-interrupted quarter-final with a 7-5, 7-6 victory over unseeded Sebastian Korda. Football now, Sergio Ramos suffered a calf injury while on international duty with Spain just 5 days before Real Madrid's Champions League quarter-final first leg against Liverpool. The veteran centre-back made his 180th international appearance in the Spain's World Cup qualifying win over Kosovo as a late substitute, but said he felt the problem after the match. Real also played Barcelona in a League Clasico meeting on 11th April. The Spaniard's long-term future is currently up in the air amid a deadlock in talks over a new deal. His contract expires at the end of the season, and while the player wants a 2-year extension. And Eden Park in Auckland will host the opening game of the 2023 Women's World Cup. with the final taking place in Stadium Australia in Sydney. Soccer's world governing body FIFA said on Wednesday as it announced the 9 host cities for the tournament. Adelaide, Brisbane, Dunedin, Hamilton, Melbourne, Perth and Wellington were the other 7 cities in Australia and New Zealand selected to host matches. Australia and New Zealand will host one semi-final each, with a full schedule to be announced later this year. Both nations already qualify for the World Cup as hosts, while the tournament will be the first Women's World Cup to feature 32 teams. Baseball now. Baseball is back in New York. It was opening day at Yankee Stadium and fans returned to the stands for the first time since 2019 before the pandemic. The team is allowed a maximum capacity of 20% or 10,000 fans who sit in pods of mostly 2 to 4 people separated by 6 feet. Social distancing and masks are mandatory.
Fans returned to Yankee Stadium in New York City after in-person attendance scrapped last year because of the pandemic. It was opening day for the New York Yankees baseball team and the stadium opened to 20% capacity. Before entering the stadium, fans were required to show a negative COVID-19 test or full vaccination and have their temperature taken. Fans were also required to wear masks inside. Despite the drizzly weather outside, fans said they were excited to return after a year of watching the baseball games on television.
We're so glad to be back, ready to brave the elements. Regardless, we were coming no matter what, rain, sleet, snow, wind, whatever. Looking forward to get back in the stadium and seeing our Yankees, man.
I'm so excited. I'm actually in a teaching master's program, and one of the things I promised myself if I got in was to go to a Yankees game.
The Yankees are chasing their 28th World Series championship. It was the first time since October 2019 that fans were allowed back inside the ballpark. The Yankees said the first 11 games of the season will have limited capacity, which they hope to expand in May if the health conditions improve. Julie Rosen said she felt safe at the stadium. About 10,000 fans will watch from inside Yankee Stadium as New York takes on Toronto Blue Jays. Sports Desk, DD India.
So fans enjoyed the first game at the Yankee Stadium post-pandemic. So the captain's armband, Cristiano Ronaldo, flung to the ground in the disgust after Portugal were controversially denied a late winner at the weekend in the World Cup qualifier against Serbia, was put on auction on Tuesday in a bid to help a sick child. The infant is suffering from spinal muscular atrophy, which affects about 1 in 10,000 births and results in death or the need for permanent ventilation by the age of 2 in 90% of the cases.
The Portugal's captain armband, which Cristiano Ronaldo angrily threw on the ground after his goal was incorrectly disallowed during World Cup qualifier against Serbia, was picked up by Jorge, a duty firefighter. The blue armband was then put up for a charity auction by Jorge and his colleagues from Belgrade's firefighter brigade to collect money for the treatment of 6-month-old Grevelo from Serbia, who is suffering from spinal muscular atrophy.
Da, pa to je bilo naše dežurstvo na toj utakmici. I stajali smo u desnom korneru, to je tamo kod tunela gdje izlaze igrači. Ronaldo je na našu sreću bio nervozan i eto desio se taj njegov gest da je on zbacio tu traku koja je pala neposredno u mojoj blizini.
Ronaldo, who plays his club football for Italian champions Juventus, stormed off the pitch and threw down the captain's armband when he was denied a clear stoppage time winner in the 2-2 draw in Belgrade. Many Serbians resort to the fundraising and humanitarian action to collect money for medical treatment abroad when they cannot get adequate treatment at home. Georgia said he was ready to sell any memorabilia he could collect from players to help Grevelo's parent collect 2.5 million euros for his treatment, but that armband was a score.
Došao sam do te trake, svi smo se u posadi dogovorili da to ide za malog Gavrila. Niko nije želeo, to je lep suvenir, ali niko nije hteo samo za sebe, nego eto da podelimo i da pomognemo dečku.
In village of Kimik, Gruvelo's mother Nivina said the family had received donations of around 5 lakh euros so far. She added that the proceeds from Ronaldo's armband would be a significant contribution.
Prvo nismo verovali, znate, mi smo pratili tu utakmicu i znamo da je Ronaldo bacio traku, ali prosto nismo mogli da poverujemo da je eto nekim ljudima koji nas ni ne poznaju, koji su eto čuli za našu priču, našli su za shodno da uzmu tu traku, da stave na licitaciju i da pomognu našem detetu u ovoj akciji.
So far, bidders have offered around 6 million dinars during the auction on e-commerce platform. Sports Desk, DD India.
Moving on, Tokyo 2020 Olympics Committee President Seiko Hashimoto said that the organizers will hold talks with authorities in the western Japanese metropolis of Osaka to make a decision on the fate of the torch relay there. Hashimoto said in a news conference that organizers would strive to make a decision as soon as possible. The government on Thursday decided to impose new COVID-19 emergency measures in Osaka and 2 other areas such as shorter business hours and asking people to work from home to halt the rise in the cases. The torch relay is scheduled to pass through Osaka City on April 14th.
大阪市においては新型コロナウイルス特措法に基づくまん延防止等重点措置が適用されておりまして、聖火リレーの実施の在り方については引き続き地元自治体と緊密に協議を行い、できるだけ早く決定をした上で速やかに公表できるように努めてまいりたい、そう思っております。直前に状況が変わるというケースも多々あるというふうに思います。聖火リレーと自治体チームがありますので、そこで日々刻々と変わるそれぞれの地域の感染状況というものを踏まえながら、できるだけ早く決めながらも、直前に変わることに対しても対応ができるような状況を作っていきたいというふうに考えています。
Well, that's all we have in Sports Bar. Stay tuned for more news and updates. Namaskar.